Hey guys, welcome back to another Magic the Gathering Arena video. Just kidding, Merchant, don't kill me. What's up, Planeswalkers? Theorix6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Please make sure you go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal, and it helps support the channel. Now today, the reason I did that stupid imitation of Merchant's intro is because we are playing a Merchant deck. This is his Mardu Glass deck. We have made very, very minor changes, but they're changes that I do think are good for the deck overall. So if you are unaware of who Merchant is, you should check out Merchant's channel, because Merchant makes some cool decks and has a fun time. But this deck essentially is an aggressive Mardu deck that tries to utilize Glass of the Guildpact and Hero of Precinct One by having pretty much every other card in the deck be multicolored, and it is pretty effective. So we have 4 Footlight Fiends as a nice early game card that plays really well with Hero of Precinct One and Glass of the Guildpact and Fireblade Artist. The fact that you're able to ping your opponent when this dies means that you essentially can get guaranteed damage through if you really need to. Fireblade Artist is a 4 of and probably one of the other strongest cards in the deck because of the fact that if you're on some sort of board stall or you think that your opponent has specifically settled the wreckage or seal away, you can just sit back and slowly ping them to death with the amount of creatures that you have access to, especially when you have Hero of Precinct One already on the field and producing a lot of tokens. The inevitability of Fireblade Artist is really nice, especially considering he does have some immediate ability where you have haste and you can just attack in early. Now, we changed up our numbers a little bit between these 3. We now run 3, 3, and 3, whereas I believe Merchant ran 4 and then 3 of these. And the reason for that essentially is I wanted to maximize on Hero of Precinct 1 in the deck, since I do think it is so incredibly strong. So that's why we're running as a 4 of instead of just a 3 of. The ability to create these additional tokens matters so much when you consider that I also included an additional heroic reinforcements. And it works really nicely with Judith. I'll get to the numbers on those in a second, but Hero of Precinct 1 is so important to have early as you can reasonably, and just start chain casting a bunch of multicolored spells. We are running 3 Boros Challenger because, for what it's worth, a 2-mana 2/3 body against an aggressive deck is pretty decent. The fact that you're going to be able to mentor your plethora of 1/1s, especially Swiftblade Vindicator, is really nice. The ability to also have a mana sink in this card is also very nice because it means that you can slowly but surely continue leveling up, per se, the rest of your creatures. 3 Relentless Raptors. Fun fact, 3 power with Vigilance is a little bit better than 2 power with Mentor against the super aggressive decks and the aggro decks. It's not as great against midrange because usually their threats are, pretty decent, but the fact that you're getting a 3/3 that is going to be able to put on pressure against the aggro decks and still be able to put up a defense against them is very nice. The way it works with Glass of the Guildpact is so prime. You have a 2-mana 4/4 Vigilance, which is so great. And if you have access to, like, Tajic, for example, and you're going to be able to somehow pump him, let's say with... Oh, wait, everything would pump that. How did I get this to... I got this higher because of Mentor at some point, I thought. No, I'm going insane. Never mind. Swiftblade Vindicator. Oh, this is probably it. I'm just dumb. Swiftblade Vindicator is a 1/1 to start, but the amount of mentors you have that can make her bigger makes this card really threatening. Even just having a Judith on the field makes her a 2/1, where you are going to be able to just completely not care about X2s. You are going to be able to trade favorably with X3s and X4s, and even if they have an X3 out, you can trample that 1 extra damage through, which is very nice. And if it is because of Judith, you're going to get that additional damage point. Swiftblade Vindicator, very strong card when you can get it rolling, but I did decrease it down to 3 because of the fact that it's not as great when you are unable to get it rolling. It's kind of bad on the back end. It's totally fine on an even board or even when you're ahead, but it's a little bit worse when you are on the back end. I talked already about Hero of Precinct 1. It's a great card. Run 4. 4 Glass of the Guildpacts. A card that a lot of people have wanted to see me try out. For what it's worth, a lot of people I think do want to see this in more of an Orzhov Afterlife style of deck, and I do plan on doing that at some point. And there are actually a few cards in the sideboard that I'll talk about after the games. But Glass of the Guildpact essentially is just an anthem for all of your creatures except for your Hero of Precinct 1 tokens and your Heroic Reinforcement tokens. That said, being able to turn all of your creatures that much bigger makes them even more of a threat, and it gives you a nice curve to go into, right? If you have access to turn 2 Hero of Precinct 1, turn 3 probably like a Boros Challenger or something, into turn 4 Glass plus another 2-drop, you have a really nice board to go from, and that's only 4 total cards, right? So that's feasibly something that you can do. We get on to our kind of later game cards with Later game, it's 3 mana. 3 Judith the Scourge Diva, and 3 Tajic Legion's Edge. Judith is just fantastic in so many ways. Essentially, you're going to be able to buff your creatures, and this includes your monocolored creatures like Hero, its tokens, or your reinforcement tokens. But the additional aspect of that, where if your board gets wiped, or, you know, they just target a single creature like Hero, or Fireblade Artist, or Swiftblade Vindicator because they're really threatening, then you're still going to get some sort of value out of those creatures, and that's very, very nice. Tajic also protects your creatures, and also makes them better in other ways. He has Mentor, which is fantastic, and he has Haste, which means you're going to be able to utilize the Mentor as soon as you get it on the field. The fact that it has 3 power is fantastic for putting it on a large number of creatures. Of course, it's not going to hit specifically Relentless Raptor, not Laptor, but it will hit the majority of your other cards. And he does protect your other creatures against non-combat damage. So if your opponent is, you know, playing burn, they have no recourse to burn anything but Tajic, which is fine. If you're running up against a gate deck, for example, only Tajic will die to a Gates Ablaze because of the fact that he gives your creatures protection from non-combat damage. Well, it's not technically protection, but still. And if you really, really need to, you can go ahead and give Tajic First Strike, which a lot of people do forget about. So let's say you have a Glass of Guildpact on board and you have a Tajic. Your Tajic is a 4/3. They block with like a 3/3 or something. Maybe they block with a 3/4. Who knows? Or no. Yeah, 3/4 still works because Glass is power on the field. And they'll forget about the First Strike, and you just casually tap 2 lands, First Strike, your creature dies, mine doesn't. It's great. 3 Mortifies. I had to squeeze these cards in because I do think that the current meta does require some amount of removal, some amount of interactivity, and I think Mortify is the best version of that in these 2 colors. You could go with Bedevil, but currently we're not running that many black cards. Essentially, the only black cards that we need are Judith, Mortify, and Fireblade Artist, and the rest are, you know, more white or red or something. So it's not but Bedevil is not as necessary. And I think the fact that Mortify does hit enchantments, whereas Bedevil doesn't, kind of makes it even better, right? Bedevil does hit planeswalkers or artifacts, but really we don't need to care about those. Mortify allows us to destroy any of the creatures that are giving us a problem, or any enchantment. Cough, cough, Wilderness Reclamation. And then we do have 3 heroic reinforcements. Merchant, I believe, was playing 2. I feel like 3 is just kind of needed because of how powerful you will have turns with this card, right? The fact that you can go turn 2 hero into like turn 3 Judith into turn 4 heroic reinforcements is such a great line of play. If you have Footlight Fiend as well, the reason I didn't include it is because it's only a 4 1-drop slot. But if you had that as well, like, look at how many cards that is. You're going to be getting 2 tokens over this from Hero, then you're getting 2 tokens from this, and all of those are getting buffed slightly by Judith, and if any of them die, you will get Judith triggers. And that line of play is not, you know, magical Christmas land. That is relatively decent considering the construction of our deck. This is the mana base. I essentially just continued with Merchant's mana base because I feel like these Blood Crypts should be a little bit something else because of the amount of pain that we do induce on ourselves, but it works, and we tend to be an aggressive deck, and aggressive decks don't really care too much about killing your opponents. I apologize if I talked super fast there. Part of it is keep myself awake, and the other part of it is trying to, you know, stay within that threshold of under 10 minutes-ish. You might have seen that I only got in 1 game with this, and that is another reason, or another thing about me, you know, trying to stay awake. So I had a lot of work to do, and I just finished it. I planned on not recording a video today, but it is literally 11:45 for me, and since I have class tomorrow morning, I need to go to sleep pretty soon. Oh, please don't be Mono Blue. I feel like Mono Blue just destroys all of the decks that I play. I think Mono Blue is like one of the top contenders right now for like best deck and whatnot. Oh, is it? Okay. Wait. Is it Pirates? Get it? Is it Pirates? Clifftop Retreat into Vindicator, into Judith, into Heroic Reinforcement seems totally fine with me. Of course, this is going to get shocked. Wizards like, oh, is it Wizards? Okay, that's fine. Can't wait for them to counter everything that I love. No, it's just the Izzet Blue deck. All right, well, they don't have blue up. Fudge, they have blue up. I'm going to try to Mortify the Siren. Right, and I think I have to do it now, because they don't have double blue for Wizard Retort. but they still could have something late in gate. They could have dive down. And that slows me down a lot. But they're probably going to be holding stuff up anyway. Man, that's... I assume this is going to get countered. Oh, praise be to Bolas. But yeah, so I am essentially playing this deck. Let's go ahead and do Judith and Footlight Fiend. And then next turn we can Heroic Reinforcements, Heroic Reinforcements. Probably won't be getting in with Judith, because I want her to survive. But she'll probably get burned anyway. Another Curious Suspension? Sure. Ow, but if you don't have counterspell for my Heroic... Of course they're going to have a counterspell. What am I talking about? Oh, yep. Now I'm fairly certain they're going to have a counterspell. I still think I go for Heroic Reinforcements. I couldn't have paid for Spell Pierce. Yeah, Wizard's Retort, and just paid full cost for it. Well, at least I do get to attack for 4. We'll go ahead and put this down. If we draw a land next turn, we can Glass into Heroic. I actually think I'd Heroic into Glass, because if they have specifically Spell Pierce, then I'd want to be able to deal with that. They have 5, no, they have 4. So this is going to be 4 to use. No, I think I'm just going to do this again. Gosh dang it, I really hate this Curious Obsession decks. Because they're just, like, they just draw so many cards, and all of them are, like, counterspells. Yeah, damn. And I can still attack with both. Yeah, I'll attack with both. Let's see if they decide to block. I assume they won't, no. I'm fairly certain I'm just dead, right? I'm just dead to any spell. Yeah. So now this costs 1. They adapt this. This is 6. They attack me for lethal. They missed the adapt? What? What? I mean, the disappointing thing is, like, I'm still dead. Do I cast Glass or do I cast Fireblade Artist first? They're probably gonna counter both anyway. I guess I cast Glass because they could have Spell Pierce, and they can't Spell Pierce a Fireblade Artist. Alright, so let's do this. Let's assume it gets countered. Oh, got him down to 6. They even missed lethal and they still killed me. Like, yeah, I don't know. That was unfortunate. But I'm squeezing in some games, dang it. I'm squeezing this video in. I'm not kidding when I say I barely finished my homework in time to be able to do this. My medication is kicking in, getting drowsy. I shouldn't say drowsy like that. But my body knows it's time to go sleep soon. So, like, as soon as I start the upload process, I'm probably just gonna go sleep and leave my computer on. Alright, let's see. We have Sacred Foundry. I mean, this is a fine hand, especially if we can get up to 4 mana. We're going second, so I think this is fine. The question is, do we play Footlight Fiend on 1? And I think the answer is yes. We do take 2 damage. Against a red deck. I think honestly it's still correct to do so, because of the fact that it allows us to block. Or if they just, yeah, I think, like, or if they decide to use a shock on this or something to protect their lava runner, then that's a shock not going to our face anyway, so, like, it's like functionally the same. So I think this is fine. It's also, like, if they use removal on this, it's essentially they're not going to be viewing removal on one of my things, so I'm definitely blocking here. Like, I have no reason not to block. My opponent might, like, Wizard's Lightning me in response or something, but I think that's fine. The question is, do I Hero of Precinct One or Raptor? Hero is a little bit more greedy, and Raptor is a little bit more, like, effective. Raptor doesn't die to shock, so we're gonna go play Isolated Chapter. Raptor doesn't die to shock, whereas Hero does. But what I prefer for them to use their burn spells on Hero or Raptor. I think I actually, in this matchup, I think I value Raptor more, So I think I would rather use Hero as bait. And the reason for this is simply the fact that Goblin Chainwhirler does destroy my tokens pretty well. And Relentless Raptor is a little bit better at blocking. So hopefully they don't have exactly Shock here, but looks like they do. So that's unfortunate. If we did go ahead and play Raptor, it's 3 damage we would be taking. But we are able to just Blood Crypt into Raptor. Enter this tapped, play a Raptor. The Steamkins, also quite unfortunate. Man, this is kind of just going to be like a showcase of why casual decks need to have some sort of, like, I don't know, better matchmaking. And I think they could, like, base it on, like, overall placement of the cards in ranked mode, right? So, like, if a large number of the decks found in, like, Platinum, let's say, are similar to the decks, like, found here, or the cards, I should say, then that should be given a higher rank, even in unranked mode. So, like, if, let's say that this deck is 50... Let's even say 50 cards are the same, right? They have 10 different cards. Let's say mine is 30 cards the same. I mean, I assume, let's see, I assume that this deck has many elements that are relatively popular. So let's be a little bit more generous and say something along the lines of 30, no, let's say 40, right? Our deck, in that case, would be ranked lower by not a factor of 10, but, you know, by 10 points, whatever you want to call that. And so you get a situation where the decks that you face in unranked are reflective of, to some extent, right? They're reflective of the actual power levels of the decks based on performance, right? So if, you know, Drake's Bant, Nexus, Mono Red, Mono Blue, you know, if those are like the 4 decks that people are, I don't appreciate this, dude. I mean, I can't reinforcements. I think, honestly, I think we just lose. Which is so sad. But, you know, if those are like the 4 most common decks. Oh, fudge, this thing hacks to attack. That's so bad. I'm sorry, Mr. Raptor. I barely knew ye. You know what? Yeah, we're just not dealing with this deck. I would rather just get in more games for you guys than play against just a carbon copy Mono Red deck. And of course, I'm not saying that playing net decks are bad. I think playing net decks, so like decks that are the top meta decks, right? Not, you know, I go to Aether Hub, I look at someone else's list for like Teamer Dinosaurs or something. Oh, fudge. This is such a good hand otherwise. I mean, I'd be delayed by a turn, but I mean, I can still, like, play everything. I'm just delayed by a turn. Oh, man. I'll keep this. Let me know in the comments if you wouldn't keep that. It's definitely hard to decide there, but I think it should be fine. But yeah, like, I'm honestly totally fine with net decking. The problem is specifically in Unranked. Do I want to play... No, I think I'm actually going to play this and Footlight Fiend. They're on white? What kind of white are they on? I could take 2 in order to play the Relentless Raptor. Or you know what? I think I'd rather play the Boros Challenger into the Tajic. Yeah, or Tajic. I don't actually know how it's supposed to be pronounced. So I think I'll do this. I obviously don't know what deck this is yet. My assumption, vampires? No, Selesnya, okay. Tithe Taker. Interesting. Unfortunately, this would die. This doesn't. But this would. So I think I'm going to switch up my plan and play those, but I'm going to play them after combat. I'm definitely attacking here. Cool, cool. So I'm curious what my opponent is playing. It might just be like kind of a Selesnya tokens. That's the thing they could be playing. Very curious. Very, very curious, though. Those are big flowers. They're pretty flowers. For those of you who don't know, I have an Instagram account where I occasionally, at this point, post pictures of flowers. I think I'm going to play the Isolated Chapel, threaten activation. Like, I don't want to play Tajic into an active Tithe Taker. So I think I'm going to threaten the Boros Challenger buff. Although I don't actually need to play the Boros Challenger. It's fine, honestly. Ooh, God, that scared the crap out of me. I forgot they actively changed that. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that blocks. So he's taking 5 damage? Yeah, I think that's fine. And then I'll probably just play Swiftblade Vindicator. Unfortunately, the way the triggers happen, I do have to target something before that trigger's allowed to resolve. Because the trigger occurs when I put on the stack, not when it resolves. So, let's see. If I was the active player... No, I think it still doesn't work. Yeah, I'll just play Swiftblade. So next turn, when I play Tajic, for Tajic, I can double buff the Swiftblade Vindicator as long as it's alive. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Ooh. I do not like that Sam I am. I'm actually taking some lumps to play both of these. Interesting. So you definitely have to attack. Vindicator can be up to a 3/3. So I mean that, like, if they decide to block Vindicator, I get to kill Shalai and deal some damage extra. I get to deal 2 extra damage. If they block either Tajic or Boros Challenger, it's not really great for them. I assume they're just going to block Tajic and, like, chump the Relentless Raptor. I think that's what they're going to do. Oh, crap. Okay, yeah. I just have to make sure this resolves first. Yeah, there we go. Because if Tajic's resolve first, this wouldn't resolve. Wow, they do block there. I am honestly surprised by that. I get to kill both of the things and still deal a decent amount of damage. I mean, that's fair, right? They don't want that to stick around. But the fact is, I can go ahead and sack something with Fireblade Artist and get them down to 1. Lyra. Lyra. Do I sack something? I could sack Relentless Raptor. Darn. Let's first check. They'd be at 1. They'd gain 5. So if they block Tajic, they would be at 1, I believe. No, because Tajic has Mentor. So I think sacking this wins it. Although, so if they block Relentless Raptor, they'd be up to 8. I would get through for 2. I would theoretically get through for 8. So I think I just decline. I think I still. Oh, absolutely, abso-freaking-lutely. My opponent, you are dead, my friend. Okay, you are going to target him, and you're going to target him, or her, I guess. The little Magali things. Good game, sir. That's fine. They go up to 8, and then they die horribly. Fantastic. I guess it's like an aggressive, like it's like an aggro midrange. It's not pure aggro. I think it's like an aggro midrange deck. Cool. So it's technically 2 losses. Yeah. Izzet Blue and Mono Red. Yeah. But anyway, what I was saying is I think net decking in general is totally fine. I think if you aren't like I don't really consider myself a good deck builder. At least I didn't. I think I'm getting better by playing all of these different decks for you guys. I should check my levels. All right, cool. Levels should be fine. This is an okay hand. We have a 1 to a 2 into a 3 if we need it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this. It is like technically it's a little land heavy, but honestly we should be fine. Judith is nice to see. Blue-green does make me fearful that this is Bant. Do I want to Blood Crypt now? No, I guess there's no reason to Blood Crypt, really. Especially since it doesn't, like, give away anything, and I still have the ability to play Relentless Raptor next turn. The thing is, I don't know... Nowhere else? Okay, so I assume this is Mad Angels then. I mean, I definitely attack. The question is, do I Glass or do I Raptor? And I think the correct answer is Raptor. Dude, block it, please. Oh, it's done. I think the correct answer is Raptor. Because it gets another creature down for Judith. If we didn't have Judith in our hand, I do think that Glass is a little... No, I still think it's probably correct to play Raptor. Fudge. They are on Bant, so I think that, yeah, this is Bant Counters. Okay. That's fine, honestly. Hopefully they don't have another 2-drop. I hope this isn't a Wildlife Walker. Alright, Growth Chamber Guardian. That's fine. So I am going to take some lumps. I'm going to play a Sacred Foundry. I'm going to play Judith. And we're going to get in there. So this matchup, I do think it's pertinent to just kind of go for faces the place. I mean, they could adapt this, but it would take up their entire turn unless they have another land. If they have another land, they can adapt that for, you know, pretty easily. They can Growth Chamber Guardian and play the second one, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, so that looks like that's what I'm gonna do. Luckily for me, I could Mortify this, or I could just play another Glass. So let's see if they decide to play this one. If they do, I think it's kind of fine. I think I would just Mortify it. Yep. Alright, that's fine. Because it gets through for the most damage. I don't think I'm going to actually, like, play Judith. Or attack with Judith, I should say. I think... Taking it back, you are a madman. Oh, I have to block. It's a little unfortunate, but honestly, it's fine. Because I get a trade, and I get to kill Generals. I don't know if they realize what they did there. That was kind of bad for them. Another Judith is interesting, but I do think the correct answer is just Glass and attack. Yeah, I think the correct answer is Glass and attack. So we're going to go ahead and play this tapped. We'll go and play Glass. Yeah, we're going to go and play Glass. And then we're going to get Swole and come in there. If they block Footlight Fiend, I get to kill. Okay. I would have been able to kill his Incubation Druid, and he would have been just destroyed. Because he's you know, kind of slow on mana. For what it's worth, I do think that even if they were playing, you know, third lands, that they still wouldn't be in such a good spot because of the fact I do have access to Mortify, I have access to additional Judith. Yeah, so I would like to draw like heroic reinforcements. All right, I was gonna say Speak of the Devil, but the Devil's not appeared. That said, I can go ahead and kill this. F off. I'm trying to kill you. And I'm going to go ahead and just attack. You want to go to 1? That was foolhardy of you. I mean, I guess they just really need a mana. I assume we're going to get a concede pretty soon. So he is on the Bant Counters deck. It's unfortunate that my opponent didn't have a lot of lands going on. But honestly, the attack with the 4/4 I think was incorrect. Yeah, unfortunately for you, I have another Judith. So you kind of just die. Bye. And that is why having multiples of Judith is actually not that big a deal. Not that big a deal at all. We're still sub 30 minutes, so I will go ahead and play an additional game. But I do believe after this one, I will have to bounce and go to sleep and wake up early. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I think you should. I think net decking is fine, but at the end of the day, I think you should net deck for the format you're playing, right? So, or not necessarily the format, but I mean, obviously the format. You shouldn't net deck a modern deck to a standard tournament. This hand is it's land heavy. It's pretty land heavy, but I can Swiftblade Vindicator and Tajic, so I think that's fine. I don't love it, especially since oh god, it's the Guildgate deck. You know what? This hand just got a little bit better. With Tajic, like Tajic is gonna help a lot. I feel like it's Tajic or something, and I'm just saying it poorly now. If you net deck, you should net deck appropriately, right? So it's white blue flyers. This is the other deck that I was considering building today. But I was like, I didn't have it. I have enough time. Oh my gosh. It's Blue-White Flyers. I'm actually super stoked. I will be making a Blue-White Favorable Winds Flyers deck soonish, okay? Soonish. If you like bring a net deck to modern deck to like the kitchen table, unless your other friends like did the same thing, you're kind of a D-bag. I mean, my opponent's like hovering in their hand, right? They have something here. Am I gonna take more lumps? Jeez. I mean, this is what I was saying in the DeckTech. I think that there's a little bit too much shocklands, and not enough. I think it's too many. A little bit too many shocklands, and not enough not shocklands. We're gonna attack with these. Go ahead and do that. Luckily, she has vigilance, so she can't get Seal Wade. She could get bounced with like arrest or something. Swiftblade, nope, that does not work on Swiftblade. Hit Tajic, yep, makes sense. Okay. Still resolves though. Get some lumps. Alright, cool. What if you're going to standard FNM? You shouldn't net deck a, casual deck that you found online that you like, right? So, oh, that is unfortunate for my opponent. Crack open a cold one. It's Team Unity Thursdays. Yeah, we're just gonna maximize our damage and just like kill the crap out of you, my friend. I can't wait for the board wipe. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. So next turn, I can sack Footlight Fiend and sack one of my Fireblade Artists and kill my opponent. Because that is 2/4 damage from the Fireblade Artist and an extra damage from the Footlight Fiend. And yes, I did finish what I was saying about net decking. We won, but that was kind of a hollow victory. Because of the fact that my opponent unfortunately got all 3 of their favorable wins really quickly, so kind of unfortunate. We're going to go and buy some packs. This time we'll go ahead and get a... we're going to get an Ixalan pack. And an Ixalan pack. Alright. Pack. Let's see. Oh! Don't mind if I do. Come on. Dead man's chest, don't care. And of course, we're going to get some more gems. Yep. Alright. Now, I'm going to talk really quickly about the sideboard, why I didn't play some things, some of the things that I did consider. So, Consecrate Consume is a decent-ish card. It is more of just a sideboard card, so if you want to play the style of deck, but you want to maintain the maximizing of multicolored spells, Consecrate, I think, is totally fine for that. It does allow you to deal with things like Phoenixes. It allows you to trim down your opponent's ability to Memorial to Folly or find finality, so that is helpful. And if you're able to get up to Consume, this is something that just is able to deal with a lot of indestructible creatures that have hexproof, cough cough, Carnage Tyrant. So that's that is also very helpful. And the fact that it gains you life is really nice. The issue is consistently getting to 4 mana. As you saw, some of those games I was stuck around 3 for a little bit, and then some of the other games I was, not flooded, but I did have plenty of mana, as it were. Final Payment is another fine removal spell if you want to have more of just a 2 mana centric style of deck. The fact that you're going to be able to pay 5 life if you really need to is helpful in some scenarios, or you can just sacrifice one of your creatures. The fact that if you have access to Hero of Precinct One means that you're likely going to have additional tokens to spare to cast this. I should note, since this is an additional cost to cast, I do believe Hero won't trigger, it won't resolve, I should say, until this is already firmly on the stack and you've already paid additional costs. So that is something to be aware of. It doesn't work perfectly with Hero, but it does work really nicely. I think that was my cat. Imperious Oligarch is a 2/1 with Vigilance. You might be saying, well, that's not great, but the fact that it has Afterlife is nice. It, as I said, works really well with Hero. I mean, as pretty much all the sideboard cards do, but it works nicely with Glass for both halves. So essentially, with Glass out, this is a 3/2 and a 2/2 flyer for 2 mana. And when you look at it in that light, it's a lot better. Also, she has a really nice staff that is reminiscent of Vicaris. So yeah, Revival Revenge. Revival is it's a way to get back your important cards like Tajic, Judith, and Hero, and that's really nice. you're pretty much never going to use Revenge. It's mostly for revival, but as you can see, there weren't too many situations where that's something that I would want to do. The fact that it gets it back to the battlefield is kind of nice because you aren't necessarily paying a premium, but it's kind of particular in when it's usable. Merchant was running an Unbreakable formation, and I just didn't think that the deck was as good, or the card, I'm sorry, was as good as it could be. It doesn't work with Hero, which I think is important, and the fact that it costs 3 means that you have to be in a situation where you're actively holding up mana in order to counter a board wipe, or you use it as just like a single buff. And I don't really like either of those situations. Like, obviously, if it's a buff and you use it on your turn, then you're going to be able to have your creatures gain vigilance and indestructible in the same turn. So they're unlikely to die, and you can still use it on the crackback. But you have to play in the main phase, your opponent's going to know about it. They can respond to it and stuff. I just don't feel that it is as good as just including more heroic reinforcements is. Profane Procession, if you want to be a little bit more mid-rangey, you can utilize this in the sideboard for super grindy matchups, but I do think there are probably better cards to use at this point. Specifically things like Bedevil. You would need to go a little bit more into the black aspect, but for what it's worth, I think that Bedevil is more of a sideboard card where you care about specifically artifacts or planeswalkers, right? So I don't think it's great in this deck in the specific meta, but it is something that you could consider. Theater of Horrors is something that works nicely with Hero, and since you're relatively easily able to trigger what is essentially what is the hell is this thing called? Spectacle, geez. You're going to be able to potentially, draw relatively well with Theater of Horrors. That said, it is an enchantment that takes up your, potentially your turn 3. So I think it's a little bit slow, but if you want to go a little bit more mid-range with it, it's fine. Same with the kind of mid-rangey type thing, Seraph the Scales. Works really nicely with all cards involved, and Ethereal Absolution is pretty much the same. The fact that you're going to be able to get, for 4 mana, get a essentially 2/2 creature, 3/3 creature, because of Glass is nice, but these are 2 really expensive cards that you would have to shape your deck around a lot more. You would need to, make this mana curve a little bit more like a bell shape, have a lot less 2-drops, a few more 3-drops, and then have, some 4-drops, maybe a 5-drop or so, and then some Ethereal Absolutions to top it off. So, that was the end of the video. I would like to thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander and Zeraga, for their continued support. If you'd like to join them in supporting the channel, you can find links to that down in the description below, as well as links to my Discord server where we chat and play games, and my Aetherhub account where you can check out all of the decks that I play, and you can buy them directly from my Aetherhub account. Like, you can add them to your TCG Player store, and if you buy cards from my link on Aetherhub, then I get a little bit of kickback, which is nice. And for a while, I'm going to include Tyler Walpole's information down in the description. So he has a Twitch where he's drawing all of the Guildgates and Goblins characters. So that's the D&D show that I play with, Merchant, Alias V, friggin' Always Turtle, a bunch of other people. Yeah. I had to make sure the number of people I mentioned, because too many, and it's like, why didn't you do the others? And too few, and it's like, oh, wow, you just like them. But so, whatever. And I also linked to his artist store where you can get really awesome playmats. So, for example, he's the artist behind Wilderness Reclamation, and although I know a lot of you don't like that card, it has great art. All right, it is fantastic art, and he's done a lot of other things. He has nice playmats there, so definitely check out his stuff, his Twitch, and things like that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go and tap that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool, cast a comment in the comment section down below, and then pass the turn and the video to your friends. And until next time, all will be one.